Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Lara, a clinical pharmacist specializing in functional medicine, as well as a certified yoga teacher and Reiki master. I run a truly integrative health coaching practice encompassing functional medicine lab testing, yoga and meditation, and a sprinkling of Reiki energy medicine. Join me here on Light Body Radio to break through your health plateau and come into alignment with your natural vitality. Hello and welcome to Light Body Radio. I am your host, Dr. Lara, and today we have with us a special guest, Katharine Giovanni. She is a transformation coach with over 2 decades of intuitive experience, specializing in forgiveness, past life insets, and emotional healing. Through her unique approach, she helps individuals uncover deep-rooted patterns, release guilt and shame, and step into their most authentic selves. As a clairaudient intuitive, she brings clarity and profound healing to those seeking to break free from emotional burdens. Katharine's past life work offers powerful revelations, helping clients understand recurring challenges and heal wounds that transcend time. She is also the author of The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, where she guides readers through the transformative power of releasing the past. Her work blends deep wisdom, practical tools, and a touch of humor, making the journey of self-discovery both transformative and accessible. Thank you so much for being here, Katharine.
Thank you so much for having me. I totally appreciate it.
Yeah, so as always, I love to learn about my guests' journeys. So tell us about your journey and why forgiveness became such a hot topic or a perspective of focus for you.
The fact that I'm teaching forgiveness and I've been known to call myself a forgiveness coach, implies that the universe, which has a great sense of humor, has graced me with many opportunities to forgive.
Yeah.
So it probably
haven't we all?
Yeah, right?
You're just aware enough to dive deeper.
I'm just weird enough that I tell people about it. And when I was a kid, there was no video evidence. So there you go. Mm-hmm. But in the 1970s, I've always been intuitive. And when I was in the 8th grade, I was terribly bullied because I was different from everybody else. And I just kept it to myself. And my parents were raging alcoholics, so they were really quite pickled. So in the 8th grade, I decided I'd had enough, and I tried to commit suicide, and a friend pulled me out. And I turned into one of those teenagers, the ones I'm talking about. And I just kind of floated through life until I hit my 20s, and my mother fell down a flight of stairs, broke her hip, and ended up in the hospital. And even my mother couldn't get a gin and tonic in the hospital. So she dried out. We sent her to rehab. And I finally had the mother I always kind of knew was there. We spent the next 3 years closer than sisters. We forgave each other. We practically finished each other's sentences, and we lived together. And then she got breast cancer and she died 3 years later, which I eventually got in 2012. And everybody's life has what I call flashpoints. And you kind of don't know you're going through them at the time. But if you look back, hindsight is 20/20, you can see them. Mm-hmm. And that was mine. And I knew that if I didn't change my life, I was going to die. So I quit drinking. It was the only New Year's resolution I actually ever kept. And I've been sober now for 35 years. And that's what kind of began the journey. And when you become sober, most of us go through AA, that kind of thing. And they want you to do these things called make amends. Mm-hmm. Well, back in those days, we didn't have the tech that you guys have today. I would have so texted these people. I would have been all over that because I was shy. But I had two choices: see these people in person and probably get yelled at, or you could call them up at the phone and again, probably get yelled at. I had no desire to do either one. And I was shy. So I stumbled across the first part of my 7-part forgiveness system by accident. I did it quietly in my apartment and I didn't tell anybody. And I forgave them silently out loud to the room. And the more people I forgave, the better my life got. And I met my husband a year later of 33 years we've been together, and it just got better and better. I went into the concierge industry as a concierge trainer and customer service person. And I can teach you the words, I can teach you everything. But if you're angry, it's going to bleed through your body language, whether you want it to or not. So I had to come up with a method to teach people how to forgive. And then in 2020, we figured out the special sauce to the whole thing and blew the top off it.
Wow. Well, I love what you said, that you did it on your own, personally, quietly by yourself. And I think and I think that's so key, because I feel like there's this idea or perception that forgiveness has to be the conversation and that the other person has to accept your apology. But the reality is that forgiveness is very personal. It's more about your anger or your hurt, meaning the person that whatever happened to. I mean, I hate the word victim, but for lack of a better word, like the person that's hanging on to the energy of anger, resentment, victimhood, whatever. That's the process of forgiveness is about you letting go of that. Is, at least this is what I've learned. So you definitely correct me if I say anything that's completely off base.
Now, you're 100% right. And there's a couple of false principles out there that are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, everybody tells you have to forgive. Your parents, your teachers, your pastor, everybody. Nobody teaches you how.
Right.
And what if you don't want to? What do you do then? What if it's unforgivable? So on a 10 scale, with 10 being an unforgivable dumpster fire pile of crap, and 1 being the most easy person in the world to forgive, 10 out of 10 people listening to this podcast are thinking of their number 10 people, which is completely fair, because they're the ones that hurt you the most. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to forgive your unforgivable people. And I'm the only one in the world that's going to say that too. Why? Because there's a lot of people, places, and things. And I did say places and things, stay with me, that you can forgive before you even get to that person. So my system, and I'm going to go over the step-by-step system so your listeners can get it. But part of my system is to start with the easy ones and work your way up. And here's some principles that are wrong. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want a relationship with you.
Absolutely.
I probably don't. I have things in place. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to become best buds. We're not going to all of a sudden go out to dinner. And here's the one that trips up absolutely everybody. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I'm giving you a pass all of a sudden. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden I'm saying you're right and I'm wrong and I'm coming over to the dark side, as it were. You're still wrong. You're still a dumpster fire. You probably still have to make amends. That door is still shut. What it means is I want you out of my head. That's it. Forgiveness is selfish. It's personal. You don't have to reach out to people. You want them out of your head. That being said, you can forgive dead people, because where they are or are not doesn't matter a lick, because they're alive and well in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to reach out to anybody. So if you need closure with your parents who passed 30 years ago, well, now's your chance. This system will allow you to do that.
Yeah. And I love that everything you're saying really comes down to the impact that it has on our energetic field.
That's right.
And then therefore our physical being and our physical health. So there, again, like we talk about this so much on the show, is that connection between the energetic and the physical. And so, because when we're holding on to those, what we label as negative emotions, although all emotions just are sort of, I think, neutral, that we call them negative because they don't feel good, but they have a certain vibration. And if we hold on to those things, especially anger and resentment and all of those things, then eventually they will cause disease and or some sort of imbalance in our body. They completely derail us mentally, like you said, like they're in our head.
Absolutely. Yeah.
From whatever our goals are, or our highest path, our soul work, our spiritual path, or our highest purpose, however you want to say that piece of it too. So I love that you're saying all this stuff. I'm totally in.
Well, let's talk about what you just said. And here comes the special sauce. A lot of people come to me and they say, Katharine, I did do the work. I did forgive them. but I got triggered because I went to Christmas with my family, or I had to go to a party, or I saw their face on Facebook, whatever it was. And now I'm angry again. How do I get rid of that? You're being triggered because you didn't forgive the energy. Einstein, for anybody who doesn't understand what I'm saying, Einstein clearly proved that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just transforms from one thing to another. So when you get angry, everybody assumes, and most people don't even think about a lick, it leaves your mouth and it dissipates in the universe. It does not. It hangs in your energy field until you clear it. And everything on our planet, science has also proven, including this little silver microphone in front of me, has an energy field around it, which also can be cleared. So let me give you an example. And it's a mantra that I say, but let's talk about the unforgivable, because we're talking about energy and it's the clearest way I can explain it. And then I'll go through the actual system. But let's say it's an unforgivable person. Okay, let's talk about one of mine. We'll talk about the bully in school. When I was a kid, I wasn't ready to forgive the person. I wasn't even ready to forgive the energy around the person because I was just too darn mad. So I picked apart the memory. Everything has an energy field. So I forgave, I'm actually very serious. I forgave the school that I went to, the energy around the building. I forgave the desk that I sat at, the energy around the desk. I forgave the chair. I forgave the room, the teacher. I forgave the playground. I forgave the kids who stood around and didn't help, and the energy around all these things. I forgave New York City because that's where I was. I forgave 1974. Why did I forgive 1974? Because that's the year I tried to commit suicide. And I was still bugging me, so I actually forgave the year. I completely forgave it. Mm-hmm. And then I checked in with my body, and I realized that the number 10 had gotten down to a 9, and I still hadn't forgiven the bully yet. I just forgave the energy. And by the time I had done that, and then I was still angry, so I picked apart another memory, and eventually I was able to get that bully down to a 9 and maybe make my first pass at forgiving this person. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And using my mantra and my system will allow you to free yourself from stuff that's been bugging you for months, years, and decades.
Wow, that resonates with me so much. I had a lot of trauma, especially early years, elementary school. So that's definitely something that I haven't done is all those steps you just said. So I have some work to do. But I am excited to hear about the whole process. But just for clarity's sake, because we haven't actually said it specifically, what is your definition of forgiveness? Like, we've talked about it conceptually, but is there, like a specific definition that you want to like be clear and put out there?
My formal definition of forgiveness that I have given to everybody is, I want you out of my head. Okay. That is my formal definition. That's what it is. I want to stop thinking about you. I want to stop dreaming about you. I want you free. You're living in my head. And what everybody doesn't understand is your brain acts like an overprotective best friend. And there's a closet in the back of your brain, and it's padlocked. And inside that closet is a movie that's been playing constantly. Now, if you knew it was there, you would turn it off, but you don't. And it's stuff that happened in your childhood. It was the bullies. It was the people that happened, the stuff that happened 3 years ago, because you haven't cleared it yet. And it is affecting your life. And this system's going to allow you to finally break open that closet and clear everything.
Perfect. Well, and even when we do know it's there, it's so hard to turn the damn movie off.
It is. You don't want to because you watched the movie and now I'm mad again.
Yeah.
I don't want to forgive them because what they did was wrong. And everybody thinks that. They think forgiveness is weak. It's actually a sign of strength. They think if I forgive them, it means I'm giving in. You're not. And I think it stems from our childhood, back when you were, in the first grade or kindergarten, and somebody punches you in the eye and the teacher comes right over and says, "Oh, now children, forgive each other and go off and play on the seesaw." And in your head, you're thinking, I don't want to forgive them. They punched me in the eye, but you're made to forgive each other and go off. And I think we all connected some unseen dots that should never, ever have been connected. because forgiveness does not mean that I'm giving in. It means I want you out of my head. That's what it means.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of that also too comes from different religious conditioning.
Yes,
It's
it does.
the turn the other cheek type of stuff instead of, like you said, like, get out of my head.
Well, we also
And
use this. We also bandy around. I love these sayings that aren't actually true. Forgive and forget. Okay,
right.
I'm originally I live in the South now of the United States, but I'm originally from New York City, and I can promise you with 100% guarantee, we don't forget anything ever.
People in the South don't either.
Yes. And I think it's in all our DNAs. We are not going to forget. But here's what I can promise you. Once you've used my system, it's going to remove the emotional charge. So you're not going to care good. You're not going to care bad. You're not going to care. And that is blissful freedom. You won't care. I caught myself. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've had a lot of businesses, and one partner in particular, usually when I saw her name, would send me flying to the ceiling, and you'd have to literally peel me off. And this one afternoon, I was sitting right here, and I saw her name. I think it was her birthday or something, and I didn't care. And I caught myself, and I sat here, and I thought, wait a minute, I don't care. And I was stunned by it because I legitimately didn't care, even wish her a happy birthday, because I didn't care. That's the freedom I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. What is the process?
I want everybody to, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to take a pad of paper and a pen. I know that sounds old-fashioned, but there was a study done at Harvard University decades ago that followed some kids through the years. Half the class were told to just say their goals out loud to the room. The other half were told to write them down using a pen and a piece of paper. And the kids that wrote them down were twice as successful as the kids who didn't. So there's some kind of magic that happens. But if you really need to use your phone or your laptop, I don't care. Now, I want you to sit down in a room quietly, and I want you to write a list of all the people that you think you need to forgive. And you're going to write your number 10 unforgivable people first. Those are going to be the first 5 names. I get that, but I want you to keep going, and don't judge whatever names come up. Do it from your intuition. Do it from your gut. And let that little bird in your shoulder just sing. If you come up with a name and you write down the name Bob, do not judge that name. Obviously, somebody named Bob bugged you at one point in your life, and you need to forgive that person. My co-author, who's co-authoring the next book in the series, she wrote down a little red wagon. Okay, she had no memory of a little red wagon, but she clearly was angry at it on some level, so she forgave it. Then I want you to take that list, and I want you to rate these people from 1 to 10. 10 being unforgivable, 1 being easy. The person who took your parking space yesterday, and you had your blinker on. Come on, you can forgive that person. The person on the highway yesterday who cut you off in traffic. They were late to work, or their wife was pregnant in labor. You can forgive these people. The person who stole your sandwich in the lunchroom yesterday at the office. I hope you can forgive that person. They were hungry. Easy, easy, easy people. Or the kid who punched you in the eye in kindergarten. Okay, you're probably in your 30s or 40s now. I think you can forgive it. Enough time has passed that you could probably forgive that kid. So I want you to do something really hard. I kind of want you to use the magic button on your cell phone and turn it off. And if you're visibly twitching at the idea of turning it off, which you should just reboot it at least once a day, mute it.
Yeah, then we have another issue to talk about.
Well, I don't want and if you mute it, that's fine. And I don't want it to be one of those. I don't want it to just vibrate, because if it dances on your desk, you're going to want to look at it.
Right.
I just want you alone. I want you alone in the room. No humans with you, little humans, big humans. I don't want them in there. And you can have the dog if he's quiet, but I literally want no distractions for like 20 minutes. Then I want you to look at the first name on the list, the person you labeled a number 1, the kid from school. That's fine. I want you to imagine in your mind's eye that kid is standing in front of you. Now, let me be clear, not the adult of today. I want you to see the kid that you knew. And if you can't imagine the person in your mind's eye, because not everybody can, you can put a chair in front of you and talk to the chair. I have clients who have put people's names on the chair, their picture, whatever props you need, if you can't imagine them in your mind's eye. And then say anything you like. This is a level 1 person, so you're probably not going to say anything because it's going to be so easy to forgive this person. But if it's not, and it's a higher level person, let's say a 5 or a 6, say whatever you want. You don't have to tell anybody you did this, and you're alone in the room. This is your party. Cry if you want to. Scream, yell. I don't care what you do. Do whatever you like. And then when you're done, then I want you to put your hand in your heart, which is merely there to remind you to say the words from your heart, because it's the energy behind the words that's going to carry the most weight. The words are just for us stupid humans. And the mantra is in the book with all sorts of worksheets. I want you to say, I completely forgive Martha. I forgive the energy around Martha. I completely forgive myself. I forgive the energy around myself. I completely forgive the energy around the entire relationship. So it is. Go with God, Godspeed, end it any way you like. And now check in with your body. Are you still mad? No? Okay, great. Cross the name off the list. Go to the next one. Was this a level 3 person? Check in with your body. Well, I'm still kind of mad when I think about the name. Okay, put a 2 next to it. Wait 24 hours. Do it again tomorrow. This happened to a really good friend of mine. It was a level 5 person. And we were in a private session, so I was watching her face. And she did that mantra, forgave the person, and I watched her as she shot up to a 10. She went from a 5 to a 10 after saying the mantra. She was even more angry than when she started. What happened? Remember that closet that I said was in the back of your head? She just said the magic words like open sesame, and her brain went, ooh, she's ready. Catherine's ready for me to open up that closet. And it opened up the closet, and all these memories that she didn't know were there flooded her head, and she got furious. And she said, no, I'm not forgiving this person. Why should I do that? Which is very fair. So she changed the number from a 5 to a 10, waited 24 hours, and we started the process of her forgiving that seemingly unforgivable person.
Yeah. But I love that example too, though, because it shows like the layers and again, like how our brain
Like
at
an
the
onion.
time probably protected us and suppressed those memories.
Oh, sure,
And
she
so
did.
now that she's in a safe space, which is in a, like a session with you, or even if you're by yourself, whatever sacred space you created for yourself, because I think that's what we're doing here, is that okay, yeah, the brain is like, okay, so we're not in fight or flight. I can show you these things, and you're not going to be physically harmed. Again, we might feel uncomfortable because it's memories we don't want to see, know about, or like relive those feelings. But I would like to think too, depending on where we are, like in our emotional maturity and journey in our practices, that when things like that happen, either you have a practitioner there to help guide you through that, and or if you're by yourself, we have the cognizance to say, okay, like this isn't happening right now in the moment. Like you can become the observer instead of the living through it again. And that's a huge shift and on the healing journey too, just being the observer and not the liver of the experience.
The past can't hurt you, but it's also this is the exact reason why I want you to start with the easy ones, because by the time you get up to the 6, 7, 8s, 9s, you're ready. And I have a special method for the 10s, which we already discussed. You pick apart the memory and you start forgiving the things. That by the time you get to that point, you will have forgiven enough people that you're going to start feeling better. You're going to get healthier. You're going to start seeing opportunities, which is going to give you the juice that it needs to keep on going down your list. So a few things. As you get healthier, as you start to forgive people, and forgiveness is very much like the law of gravity. It's going to work whether you believe in it or not. It doesn't care. The law of gravity, you can also call it anything you like. It doesn't care. So the law of forgiveness is the exact same word. This is energy is going to work whether you believe in it or not. It's like an onion. The layers are going to start to come off. So this is a marathon, not a sprint. So as you forgive people, a few things are going to happen. There's some physical things that'll probably happen to you. I want you to do this before bed. And that's kind of important. You can do it after dinner if you want, but I want you to do it before bed because the body heals itself when it's sleeping. And as you forgive, your body is going to want to toss all of that anger energy out. So what am I talking about? Here's some science for the scientifically inclined. There was a study done in Japan called the Japanese Water Study. You can Google it. It'll come right up. And they've actually tried to replicate this study hundreds of times, and everybody keeps getting the exact same results. So what he did is, and I can't remember his name, is Hasumoto, something like that. And he took several containers of water. One container, I can tell you've heard about the study. One container of water, he spoke beautiful words to. Container of water, pure hate. He then froze the water and he put it under a microscope. The water he spoke love to, gorgeous formations. The water he spoke hate to, these black and brown malformations that look diseased. So why am I telling you this? The human body is over 95% water. So when your self-talk is bad, when you're living in anger and regret and you're holding grudges and bitterness in your heart, what do you think you're doing to the water cells within your body? And as you forgive, the human body is really good at healing itself. So it's going to be turning those water cells, again, energy is neither created nor destroyed, from dark to light. And those old energy cells need to go somewhere, people. If you only do 10 a night or one big one, like 1, 8, 9, or 10 person, your body easily can toss this. Everybody gets tired when they do this system. Everybody gets tired. So if you do it during the day, you're going to want a nap. And if you do more than 10, do as I say, not as I did. I am a little bit of an overachiever, shocker. And when I did this exercise, and I'm my own guinea pig, I must have put 50 people down on the list, and I thought, this is going to be great. I'm going to be like a phoenix rising from the ashes. I'm going to do it all at once, all one night, and I'm going to wake up in the morning, and everything's going to be great. Okay. Didn't work out the way I thought it would.
Yeah.
I did forgive many people on the list, to be fair. I did. But I also spent the next 3 days in bed with what everybody thought was a stomach flu.
I was going to say, yeah.
It was not the stomach flu. It was those water cells I'd held on since, for decades, that were trying to clear my body. So you may find yourself in the bathroom for a little bit. You didn't eat a piece of bad fish. It's just your body tossing some old anger. You might get really exhausted, which is what happens to most people. Some people, their shoulders feel legitimately lighter. That happened to my older son, and he couldn't believe it. Some people feel energy leave their solar plexus, which for anybody who doesn't know, and if you're a regular watcher of this podcast, you know exactly where it is. But for anybody who doesn't, it's in the center of your belly, right above your belly button. And you'll feel something. But when you get to those higher level people, do one a night, because it's that anger that you're going to be releasing is very toxic, and it's going to take your body a little time to recover.
Yeah, the words that came to mind when you were telling that story was energetic blowout. Like you just
I like that. Energetic blowout. Oh, I like that a lot.
But I mean, the same thing happens like when we have, if you're even like going through a Reiki class with attunement, sometimes you can get that spiritual flu, and it's actually like not only is an energetic detox, but it's an energetic upgrade. So I think
a Native American Indian told me 25 years ago, she called that energy sickness.
Yes, exactly.
And she was spot on.
Yeah.
But other things are going to happen to your life when this happens, because you are so focused on your anger, you have been missing opportunities. And it's because you're thinking it, you're breathing it. And even if you don't think you're thinking it, sometimes a funny story from your past comes up, but it's not really a funny story, isn't it? You're telling your trauma and you're just spinning it. So you're missing opportunities. And as you start to lighten up your life, you're going to see money-making opportunities you didn't see before because you didn't pay attention. Health ways. You're going to maybe relationships. There's going to be some like-minded people that enter your life. like
Right.
Dr. Lara. I mean, these like-minded people are going to enter your life. But to play devil's advocate, you're also going to have people leaving your life. You're going to have some jackrabbits, meaning these, and this happened to me. I had about 6 jackrabbits. They were really tight friends of mine, really tight girlfriends. And then they were gone, ghosted me. We didn't call it ghosting back then, but I mean, just gone.
Yeah.
And then you have the saboteurs. Family really messes you up, right? And sometimes it's people you live with, it's family, it's close friends, and they like the old you. They don't want you to change. So they're going to sabotage it. So there's a very, very, very famous quote by Jim Rohn. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You get to choose. And those jackrabbits I was talking about, one of them tried to come back. It's up to you to decide whether you want to let them or not. Because if they can't run with you when you're sick and doing the shadow work, do you really want them to run with you when you're successful and healthy?
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I think a great question that I've come to ask myself a lot, like, is this person, place, thing, situation profitable to me? And always. And
Exactly.
that means like emotionally, physically, and like the word profit doesn't necessarily mean money. Like, is it emotionally healthy? Is it going to help me thrive?
Oh, let's
And
talk about that. I please don't email me. It's just a story, people. It actually really happened, but don't email me. This gentleman, and I'm not bashing men. I'm married to one, 33 years, but he came up to me after I been speaking, and he said, I don't agree. Okay. What don't you agree with? I love it when people say that to me. And he said, and I used to train concierge for a living. I'm retired from it, but I'm really good at masking what I'm thinking because I used to. So he looked me dead in the eyes and said, I've made a lot of money. And in my head, I'm going, is there a
great.
point to this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good for you. I mean,
right. And he said, and I have a lot of companies and a lot of houses. I'm happy for you.
right.
But I didn't say that, actually. I just smiled at him and I said, go on. And he said, I did it all on my bed of hate. I did it on the back of the, excuse my language, I'll change the words.
Okay.
The
You can curse.
on the stuff that I lived through when I was a kid. And I spun it and I've written books about it. And now I'm really, really successful. Okay. Let's talk about that. I'll play. Let's play the game. Sure. There's 2 trains you can take, people. Both trains will get you to your destination, 100%. One is the express. The other is the local that's going to stop at every single stop. It's like going into a hotel and you're going to the 75th floor and some punk kid has just left the elevator and they pressed every button. And you're going to stop at every single floor. You're going to get to your destination, but you're going to be a shadow of your former self. You're going to be a blithering idiot by the time you get up there. And the local is the same way. You're going to be brought to your knees. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be painful. Wouldn't you like to get off that little train of pain and take the express? The express train of love and forgiveness and joy will get you there twice as far and twice as fast than that other little train can. You'll get there in the other train, but it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, that's really funny. I like that. I would have other questions too, like, how is your health? And are you healthy now?
But
Anyway.
he walked away after that little soliloquy because I think I just pissed him off. But I don't think his journey had been very healthy. I think it was hard. You could see it.
I think, again, coming back to like the cultural conditioning, especially as Americans, we are definitely culturally conditioned to be aggressive, be driven. A lot of us are conditioned to be workaholics.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure you are.
Yeah. And so it's like, that's a hard identity and behavioral pattern to shift out of.
Yep.
And a lot of times part of that journey is asking yourself, like, what do I look like if I'm not this workaholic? Or what is, who am I if I'm not A, B, or C? Right. And so I think that's really fascinating.
I had a gentleman come up to me, which is just so funny, and he was in his 80s, and he looked at me dead in the face, and he said, "I'm trying to get into heaven now, so I think I'm going to do what you said."
I love it. I mean, whatever it takes, right? Like, like, great. Like, whatever brought you here. There again, like, for me, no judgment. Like, great, because it doesn't matter what brought you to, to this place of readiness, for openness, for change, for acknowledgement, for for creating something new for yourself. It's the fact that you made it here and that you're ready to do the work to create that new thing or to reinvent yourself.
But everything is forgivable. If you're listening to this broadcast and you're thinking, and I've been told this too, I don't have anybody to forgive. I'm good. Okay, sure you do. For the next week, I want you to say the following mantra every night before you go to bed 3 times in a row. I completely forgive myself for not being able to forgive and the energy around this thought. Say that 3 times a night. What's going to happen? Either tomorrow, the next day, or 4 days from now, that closet in the back of your head is going to open and you're going to start to remember things. And when you do, write them down and then start the forgiveness process. Everything can be forgiven. If you don't have anything to forgive, well, did your team in the Super Bowl lose? I think enough time has gone by that you can probably forgive them. Mm-hmm. You can forgive anything. You can forgive politicians, dare I say, not going there. You can forgive the war in the Middle East. What's going to happen to the war in the Middle East? Absolutely nothing. But if it's in your head, you can forgive it. Anything on CNN, you can forgive. I had a client once that came to me quite a while ago, and she cried every day in the shower, every morning, because she was going to work and her boss was just awful and verbally abusive. And the job was paying her mortgage, and she was scared. She didn't want to quit. So she cried every day. And I looked at her and I said, forgive the shower. She wasn't ready to forgive the boss or the company. So I said, forgive the shower, forgive the water. And then sometimes, this is the first book of 3. The next book that Katie's going to co-author with me is about how to forgive yourself. We're going to do a deep dive into how to forgive the unforgivable. And we're going to do a chapter on how to forgive money, which is just energy. But how to forgive yourself, my answer is really the same, because I can't tell you how many people, again, have come up to me and said, well, I am number 10. Okay, so here's what you do. I want you to create a second list. Go through the first list first. All the people in your past, as of yesterday, you think you need to forgive. Do that one first. And if you're your number 10, skip it. Just let it sit there for a minute. And then I want you to do a second list. And I want you to write down all the memories of things you need to forgive yourself for. It could be people. It could be things you said that you can't take back. It could be anything you think you need to forgive yourself. I shouldn't have gotten into that car. I shouldn't have gone jogging at night. I don't care what it's about. Whatever it is, write it down and then rate them from 1 to 10 and start with the ones and work your way up.
Yeah. So true. I mean, yeah, like all of us, have things to forgive ourselves for.
Sure we
do. I think especially those of us that are on the journey of recovery, we're probably our own number 10, whether we want to admit it or not. Like, we'll have a whole list of other people that we feel like have wronged us, but the person that we're probably judging the most is ourselves, and that's who we need to forgive the most.
This is how I came up with it, because it's one of mine. And my father was I had a couple number 10s, but my dad was one of them. And I got my father from a 10 down to a forgivable 1, 2. And I was finally able to forgive him. And it took me months. This was my dad. And my father's been dead for over 20 years. So it sounds strange to say that we have a good relationship today because he's dead, but we do. And that's when I got him down to the forgivable level. I sat here and I thought, well, what's the one thing that I can't forgive myself for? I just sat here and I just asked myself the question. Okay, it wasn't me asking the question. It was somebody else. But that's a whole nother podcast. And I thought, well, the one thing that I've been saying for years that I really regret is I was so mad at Dad, I didn't let him walk me down the aisle. And that was really mean of me, because it was. And it was hurtful. And there are some people that said he deserved it, but 2 wrongs don't make a right. And I really regretted it. because it's not my personality. It's not who I am. And that's when I realized in a flash that I'd gotten my dad from a 10 to a 1, and forgiveness is a spiral, because now I had to go up the other way and forgive myself for the words I said and for things I did that probably hurt him. So I had to go back. Now that I had completely forgiven him, I had to go the other way. And that's when I realized there are a lot of things in our lives that we've said or we did or we shouldn't have done. I should have taken that job. I shouldn't have listened to that guy. There's so many things. I could have broken up with that person differently that we could put on our list that we can forgive ourselves for.
Yeah, I feel like this is also a really powerful path to work through grief as well. I've had an interesting journey with grief over the last five months, and it comes up in ways that you never could have imagined, especially if you've never been through it before as an adult, I feel like. And so I think, but again, like, so eye-opening, and it's a powerful journey of self-transformation. That's for damn sure, whether you want it to be or not.
Forgive yourself.
Yeah.
You can, hindsight is 2020. And I've been known to say, if I had only done A, B wouldn't have happened. If only I had said this, they wouldn't have died. If only I had did this, that kind of thing. And, maybe that's true, but it doesn't serve us because it's in the past and there's nothing you can do. The past can't hurt you. So if you don't want to do this work because you don't want to go to the past, well, I'm only asking you to go back like once or twice more. I come from a pretty wonky background and pretty dysfunctional. And I could actually look into my past now and I can remember the love. I can see the adults who were trying to help that kid. And I can see that my father and mother did the best they could with the tools they had at the time. Was it good enough? No, it wasn't. But they did the best they could. And at the end of the day, it took me a long time, but I finally was able to forgive that. And now I can see the pockets of love and laughter. Now, if you want me to regurgitate, use the word purposely, regurgitate those horrible memories, I probably can, but I don't remember them as well anymore. I actually remember the love now. And I could, now my family's mostly passed away, but I could, if they were all alive, I could actually go to a family reunion. And would it bother me? I'm human. I would look at my father and would the memories cross my mind? Probably. But they don't bug me anymore. As I said, I have forgiven. I haven't forgotten, but I have forgiven everybody.
Yeah. Is that part of the piece of not only of, I guess, undoing the past life cycles? I wanted to bring that forward a little bit because you have it in your bio. We haven't talked about it yet, but I am fascinated. And I have had, past life, like regression experiences that have been very powerful in terms of releasing physical ailments for myself. So I'm curious about how the past life piece fits into this as well.
I am clairvoyant, clairaudient, claircognizant, and empathic. I was born clairaudient, which means I was born hearing voices. It is not multiple personality disorder. I was, as a kid, I actually would ask questions and I'd answer myself in my mind, and it sounded just like my own voice. But imagine my surprise when I found out pretty soon that not everybody did that. I was the only one. So I didn't tell anybody, and I mean nobody, for like 45 years. And I'm always getting messages for people, but I'm the queen of flipping the language. You won't know I'm giving you a message because I learned very young to flip the language. I'll look at somebody and say, have you ever thought about ... It'd be good for you. And when they call me out, how could you possibly know that? I just am very flip, saying, oh, it's just years of experience. I've been doing this a while. I've been a consultant, business consultant, blah, blah, blah. And my friend Katie literally pulled me out of the intuitive closet. So a few years back, this stuff is, it's like, it's a muscle. The more you use it, the better you get. And the more you forgive, the more your own intuition is going to come through. It's another book I wrote, because of course I did, The Little Bird on Your Shoulder. Everybody hears it, feels it, sees it, or just senses it. That's everybody. Everybody's intuitive. I was just born with the dial turned all the way up. Everybody can do this. So a few years back, I've started to do more and more. I started to get people's past life information. client called me up, said, I can't sleep. I've tried everything. I've done the meds. I've done the sleep tapes. I've gone to psychiatrists. He said, I'll do anything you tell me to. So all of a sudden, I see in my mind, and it's like a movie playing in your mind. I saw him in bed, and he was the sheriff of a town, and his wife was sleeping peacefully next to him. And then I saw her smother him with a pillow and kill him. Okay, I'd have trouble sleeping too if somebody had offed me in my last life. And after I revealed this lifetime to him and we did the forgiveness work on it, he actually started to sleep through the night, and he went and started to date again because, shocker, he had trouble dating all his life. So what happened there? Well, as I said earlier in this broadcast, when you get angry or you go through a trauma, the energy is going to hang in your energy field, but it really hangs in your energy field. So your past lives, maybe it's a big traumatic event, you were thrown off a cliff, whatever it was, that's going to follow you into this lifetime. And it's going to stay there until you clear it. So you might have a fear of heights, and it might be rooted because somebody threw you off a cliff in a past life. Maybe you're really scared of knives. Well, maybe somebody killed you that way. And by clearing these past lives and by forgiving the energy around it can really open up this lifetime for you. So when people are at their last, they're in their last ropes, they've tried everything, the medicines and the doctors, and nothing's working, that's usually when people find me. And the angels will reveal to me the lifetime that is tripping them up the most. And I'll reveal it, and then we'll forgive it, and then we'll talk about it. And quite honestly, it really, really helps people.
Do the people have to know consciously that it's a past life or a past life issue coming forward into this one?
They don't. They'll say, I have trouble sleeping. I'm very pig-headed. I'm stubborn. My family's upset. I've had trouble dating. I've had trouble losing weight. I don't want to lose weight. Had somebody come to me for weight problems, and it turned out that in a past life, she was terribly bullied. And she was bullied for being skinny, and you're not good for anything, because it was a different society back then. And they really wanted you to be big, and they didn't want you to be skinny, scrawny. And this one was a very skinny, scrawny. So she was eating to really protect herself. And as we cleared that lifetime and forgave it, then she did the work in this lifetime. But let me be clear. Maybe you're an alcoholic in this lifetime, and maybe it's rooted in a past life. I can clear that for you. But you're still going to have to do the work in this lifetime. You're still going to have to go to rehab. You're still going to have to deal with your demons. You're still going to have to do the work. Even though I have forgiven and we've done the work for the root of the problem, you're still going to have to do what you need to do in this lifetime to get yourself healthy. I'm not a medical doctor, so you're still going to have to do the work.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, too, that's part of this whole contract.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation. I'm loving it. Tell everyone where they can find you and your book and your work.
You can go to KatharineGiovanni.com. And thanks to my mother, my first name is spelled a little odd. Thanks, Mom. Katharine Giovanni.com. You can find all my books on Amazon. Two of my books, the Forgiveness book and the Little Bird in Your Shoulder, have audiobooks, because I understand not everybody wants to read. So they have audiobooks attached to them, but all the books are up there. And my younger son helped me produce the audiobook, and we're still speaking to each other. So banner, I have mad respect for people who do voiceover work, and you go to an animated movie and you've got all these stars in it. You think, God, that must be so easy. They walk into a booth, they say their line, and then they leave. No, it is super hard. Yeah. So I have a lot of respect for people who do that for a living.
Yeah. Well, cool. Anything else, that we haven't talked about that you want to bring forward, or that you feel like people really need to know? And we can definitely do like a part 2 episode for your other books too, for your upcoming book.
Oh, my pleasure. Let me remind everybody out there that you are worthy. You are worthy to live a life of joy and happiness. It is your birthright. You were not meant to live in a refrigerator box on the street. You are worthy to live in joy and happiness. It is your birthright.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Katharine. I really appreciate your time and your wisdom and all the work you're doing in the world. So everybody go to katharinegiovanni.com, check it out, look at her books, listen to her books. And maybe if you're feeling so called, start implementing the tools and seeing what can unfold for yourself. So I know I will, because this has really hit home for me. So thank you so much. And we'll catch you on the flip side, everybody.